this is an intermediate step to get to where we're going, and that's temporal clauses. Okay? This should be now introduced in the book at, where are we here? Page 142.3, temporal clauses. Here now we're getting to one of the most common uses of an infinitive construct in Hebrew, and this is where it sort of gets complicated, but nevertheless very important, because this is a very typical sentence idiom in Hebrew. Consider this sentence, okay? Vayhi bektol ha'ish eth avdo v'yechta ladonai, Yahweh. Do you see what's right here? Bektol ha'ish eth avdo. That's our little infinitive construct construction begun by the prepositional phrase in that we've been monkeying around with in the previous exercises. In the killing of the man, his servant. In the man's killing, his servant. Now, we could have left it that way, except Hebrew makes this one step more complicated, because in narrative sequences, in narrative texts, Hebrew is going to be driven by the use of wow consecutive. And here's the way these sentences work in Hebrew. Notice what started the sentence, Vayhi. What is this animal? Vayhi. We've seen it before. And God said, Yehi or, Vayhi or. This is the imperfect wow consecutive. Technically, third singular masculine of the verb haya. Literally translated, this means something like, and it was. Or, and it happened. Or, King James, and it came to pass in those days. This is that idiom that we're running into now in Hebrew sentence syntax. This reminds us that the tense we're dealing with is past tense, and we're in a past narrative context. Now we get this funny infinitive construct in the man's killing his servant. And now we get to what verb form is this? V'yechta. Parse it. It's an irregular verb. Kata has a first guttural and a third aleph. It's really kind of an irregular form, but so what? You can take the pieces. Do you see a wow consecutive at the beginning? Do you see an imperfect verb form? Well, yeah. Imperfect wow consecutive. That's the sequence with which we started, so these two match up, of course. And this now is the main verb of the sentence. This is the main verb. And it came to pass, in the man's killing his servant, what happened? What's the main verb of this sentence? Answer, he sinned, past tense, because it's imperfect while consecutive. He sinned against Yahweh. Doesn't it seem like we're taking a simple sentence and making it really complicated? That's correct. You've observed well. But this is the way they formed these sentences. Now, what's interesting about this is that this infinitive construct, which is what I call the temporal element. Well, what tense is the temporal element? What tense is the infinitive? This is a trick question, and it's a key to understanding what's going on here. What tense is the infinitive? It doesn't have one. There's your problem. All right? In fact, by definition, an infinitive is infinite. It doesn't have tense. So how do you know if he sinned or will sin against his neighbor? That tense is going to come not from the infinitive, but from the context. And you know it's context, because you know the context here is past tense because you're dealing with imperfect while consecutives. Now look what happens in B. In B. Pull it just a little bit. What's the difference between A and B? Well, look at this so-called temporal element, or the infinitive construction. In the killing of the man, his servant. In the killing of the man, his servant. What's the difference between these two phrases that are going to become clauses? Nothing. What's the difference in the tense of this sentence, however? Here we're starting with v'haya. Now, what's v'haya? This is the perfect while consecutive. Third singular masculine of the root haya, and is simply the mirror opposite of and it happened, and it was, and it came to pass. This literally says something like, and it will be. And it will be. Lay that aside. In the man's killing his servant, now we get to the main verb. And what is this? Perfect while consecutive. Matches in tense, and of course that means it's future. If it's perfect while consecutive, here it's going to be future. It will happen in the man's killing his servant. He will sin against Yahweh. Now, do you see the fact that in both of these sentences, the infinitive construct, having no time, is exactly the same? You get the temporality, you get the time of this sentence, not from the verb, not from this clause, not from this infinitive, but from the vayhi and the vahaya with which